The reason why the price of gas is going up is not because of steps the president has taken. They are because President Putin is invading Ukraine, and that is creating a great deal of instability in the global marketplace.
And on the Hill, we've now seen this really sort of broad range of bipartisan support behind this legislation to ban Russian oil imports. The Speaker has said she's all for banning Russian oil. I guess first, just what is your stance on the Senate bill, and is this something that the president would sign?
Well, I think as we talked about a little bit yesterday, how the president has been approaching any of the steps we've taken as it relates to Russia and the actions of Russia and holding President Putin accountable is to take every step to the maximum impact that will impact President Putin, the Russian economy. I mean, the stock market has been closed now for the longest time in history. Russia is in a full-blown financial crisis. According to JP Morgan analysts, there will be a collapse in the Russian GDP. So clearly those actions are working. We will have one of his principles from the beginning has been to do that in a unified way, in a coordinated way, because we are stronger if we are together as we work with the Europeans. The third principle, or another principle, I'm not sure what number I'm on right now, has been to, while we're maximizing the impact, to minimize it on the American people, on the global markets, on and certainly we are mindful as we look at all of these options of making sure we're not having that impact. So we want to maintain, as Dr. Rouse said, a steady global supply of energy with whatever actions we take.
So is that a no? He would not sign this legislation?
Again, we remain in contact and discussion with members of Congress. We are looking at options we could take right now to cut U.S. consumption of Russian energy, but we are very focused on minimizing the impact to families. If you reduce supply in the global marketplace, you are going to raise gas prices. You're going to raise the price of oil, and that is something the president is very mindful of and focused on. Go ahead.
Cece alluded to something several officials have, and you kind of just did too, that there is a review of options that would allow you to cut consumption but maintain market stability and supply. Can you outline any of those options in detail that are under review right now?
Well, there are both international and domestic options. I'm not going to get into too much detail because our focus is on discussing what's possible, what will have the maximum impact, and not putting any of them at risk. But broadly speaking, part of what we're trying to do internationally is have conversations, as we have been for weeks now, with global suppliers about meeting the needs, the supply needs in the marketplace. The reduction of supply, the reduction of oil would raise prices, right? So that is one of the things that we have been focused on. We've talked a little bit about engagements that Brett McGurk has had, that Amos Hochstein have had. These are ongoing discussions. There's not a day that goes by, or maybe even an hour that goes by probably, where members of our national security team and economic team aren't communicating with their counterparts around the world about exactly this issue. There are also a range of domestic options that are out there. Obviously, the president announced the release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That is something where the process is just getting going right now. It takes a little bit to get that going, and then he'll consider and continue to discuss with his team other steps that we could take domestically.
Does the potential for an Iran deal factor into supply considerations at this point?
I would say that the biggest priority with the Iran deal is having visibility into and preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. Obviously, as a part of that, if you go back to the implementation of the JCPOA, would be the availability of oil. But I would say that our first and foremost priority focus is on preventing Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon.